Hello there, lovely folks of YouTube. Ren here. I'm in a very awkward corner of my garden right now. You can see I'm kind of sandwiched in between these plants. This is not a place that I usually do a lot of walking, but it is where this plant that I want to talk about happens to grow. This is Agrimony. Agrimonea eupatoria. This is a plant that's native to Europe, has a really cool history and magical uses behind it. However, it's one that not a lot of people seem to grow or know about, and I think that needs to change because this is a fabulous little plant. Let me give you a little better look because it's hard to see it at the angle that I have it here. This is literally the only place I can fit my camera in, but to get both me and the plant at least. But I'm gonna cut and go to a close-up view of the plant so we can talk about what this plant looks like and how you grow it, and then we'll come back when we talk about the magical uses. Alright, so here's a little bit of a closer view of the plant. So as I mentioned, this is native to Europe. It does grow in zones 5 to 9. It can grow in full sun. I grow mine, of course, in a shadier spot in my yard, and you can see it definitely doesn't have a problem with this. So very cool, very distinctive leaf on this. It has a very pinnate leaf form. Let me see if I can get a better focus on that. But yeah, very toothed margins, those really visible leaf veins on it. It has a lot of texture and a lot of character to it. So even just the foliage is really cool. However, it also grows these lovely little flowers right here. So, and again, I'm not having much luck. I can't tell whether I'm not focusing or if it's just because of my glasses, honestly. It might be because of my glasses. But yeah, grows up to about 3 feet tall with these flower clusters on it that will sort of progressively bloom further up the stem. The flowers do have a very faint fragrance to them, somewhat of resembling apricots actually, and the leaves, when they're dried, have that similar fragrance. Now this plant was typically used in teas, usually spring tonics, you know. Culpepper says that this is a good plant for opening the liver, or whatever that means. And I say that as a medical professional, I have no idea what the fuck he means by that. But that is very astringent, has a lot of tannins in that leaf, so it'll really pucker you up. And you can see the stem has a sort of hairy texture to it. The leaves are also just kind of soft and downy feeling, which is actually rather nice up against your skin, but I'd imagine that would be rather irritating in your mouth. So not typically eaten very often, but you know, it's not going to hurt you if you do decide to do that. This plant does not take any care at all. Like, I basically neglected this plant, and it is not just surviving but thriving. So this plant that you're looking at here is the original mother plant. There's another one right here that is also blooming that seeded itself last year. And then this is a little baby plant here. There's about 3 little baby plants right over here. Like, it is just self-seeding and taking over this whole area. This is not counting the agrimony that I actually pulled out this spring as well. So very easy to care for, easy to grow from seed, with the caveat that the seeds might germinate better if you give them some cold stratification. So, and if you don't know what cold stratification is, I'm pretty sure, yes, I did a whole video on it, so maybe I will link that. So now you can kind of see on this one here, well, maybe you can't see. God bless it. I can't, like, my boat, I keep trying to look through my bifocals and I can't tell whether that's visible or not, so because it makes everything fuzzy. But the seeds are very distinctive. So they have kind of a cone shape to them. And then around the base of the cone, they have all these sort of like hooked hairs or burrs that allow the seed to kind of grab onto any kind of fur or hair or anything that, you know, from any animal that passes nearby, which of course is how this plant would mostly spread its seed and propagate. That is why this plant, one of the common names of this plant is sticklewort, because those seeds will just stick all over you. This is a very, very, very easy to grow plant. Fairly attractive too. It does grow in the wild in Europe, like I said. Typically in drier sites, so it'll be like edges of fields and, you know, hedgerows and stuff like that. Does not take a lot of water. Well, I won't say I never, but whereas other plants, like, oh, this little guy is suffering because he's not getting enough water. This guy is just like, whatever, I don't care, it's fine. So minimal care required. It's a fabulous little plant that does not really need much of anything from us other than just to get it started in whatever area we want to put it. So let's talk about some of the magical properties of this plant. So typically this plant is considered to be under the dominion of the air element and the planet Jupiter. This is most commonly known as a healing plant. This is a great plant that you can use to augment any magical healing spell as well as energy healing. The name of the plant, Eupatorium, in that genus name, actually comes from Mithridates Eupator, which was a like 1st century Greek king and famous herbalist. So this plant was actually named after a famous historical herbalist, hence implying its very strong connection with healing. Okay. Now, physical healing, you know, we haven't really, I don't know about that. I'm not going to talk about that. But magical healing, absolutely. Anytime you have any kind of energy healing or magical healing, this is a great plant to use. Particularly like if you're doing an energy healing work on somebody, whether it be like an aura healing or a Reiki or something like that, this is a great plant that you can use either to anoint your hands with an infused oil of the plant or just wash your hands with an infusion of the plant. Because not only will it help to boost that healing ability, it also has protective abilities. It will kind of protect the gook that you're clearing off of somebody from attaching to you. So because protection is yet another use that this plant has been widely put to. Historically, they would make a sachet with the leaves of this plant and wear it somewhere on your person to protect you from negative influences, particularly things like goblins and that kind of stuff. This plant is considered to be so strongly protective that not only can it break a hex that has been put against you, but it's said to return the hex to the sender. So, if you have those negative people in your life that you want to protect yourself from, you know, you just want to get rid of that toxicity in your life, this is a fabulous plant to use because not only will it protect you from those toxic influences, but it might cause them to bounce back on the person themselves and cause them to be hoisted by their own petard. So, fabulous plant for that. Super, super great protective plant. Now, of course, the last thing that this plant is commonly used for is sleep magic. There is a poem that Maud Grieve has collected. You can see it on her website. It's not her website, she's long since passed away, but it is the collection of her written works at botanical.com, which is a fabulous resource. I've mentioned it before. I will say it again. You should check it out. It's great. But if you go to her listing of agrimony, there's a poem there that basically says that, summarizing, paraphrasing, is that if you put agrimony under the pillow of someone before they go to sleep, that they will stay asleep until the agrimony is removed. Now, of course, in actuality, it doesn't work quite that well, but it's still a really great option to use for those little, you know, to add to your little dream pillows that you put under your pillow when you sleep to help aid your sleep magically, particularly if the reason you're having trouble getting to sleep is because of those negative influences, stress, racing thoughts, things like that. This is a fabulous plant to help with that. So, yeah, I mean, just... this is such a cool plant, and I can't believe that more people don't know about this plant. It's so easy to grow. It's not easy to find, but, you know, if you look around enough, you can find it. You know, you're smart, you're creative, you can figure it out, I'm sure. But yeah, super easy to get started, super easy to grow, just kind of grows and takes over if you let it, which I did because I love it. And yeah, it has so many great magical applications and they're some of the most common things that you need magically. So yeah, I'm kind of surprised that more people don't know and use this plant. But yeah, now you do, so you can correct that. Anyway, that is what I have for you today. I hope this video finds you well, and I will see you again soon.